Hi, just thought I'd show you a little trip through the Cotswolds. We've just pulled on to the Stroud Cirencester Road, and I have been visiting some friends who live in a little village called Frampton Mansell. And on this journey we're going to go through Cirencester and finish on the outskirts of Cheltenham. And I'm going to go from Cirencester to Cheltenham on an A road because I'm headed for Tewkesbury, but it's a much better biking road, the Cirencester Cheltenham road. Another alternative route would be go down Air Balloon Hill and hit the M5 and go to Tewkesbury that way, which is probably quicker, but it's not so fun for biking really. And really I'm just showing you this because I know some friends of mine in the States and what have you like to look at the Cotswolds, and this is what it's like. This is the Cotswolds. Cirencester, the town we're headed for now, about 6 miles away, is advertised itself as the heart of the Cotswolds, and I in fact lived there for about 20-25 years, something like that. Yeah, this area, it changed dramatically during that time, because it used to be like where I'm living now, Tewkesbury. It used to be a sort of fairly down-to-earth place. And then you suddenly got the royal family moving into the area, closely followed by a load of celebs. And it sort of changed the whole character of the place. You know, property prices shot up and what have you. And it became just altogether more poncy, really. I now live in Tewkesbury. Tewkesbury is like Cirencester was like 20 years ago, much more down to earth, and I much prefer it like that, to be honest. Cirencester's just become too something or other, I don't know. And it's not as if there weren't really grotty bits to it as well. I mean, there's a load of stuff that's been built out of reconstituted, you know, Cotswold stone crap really, that looks absolutely hideous, and quite a lot of it is actually right in the town centre. I actually prefer the look of Tewkesbury. Okay, well here we go. As I say, I'll just point out various things along the way as we go along, but for the moment I'll shut up as we approach Cirencester. Okay, we're approaching Cirencester now. On the left here, all this land is owned by the Bathurst family, who are one of the major landowners in Gloucestershire, probably in the country, I don't know. I'm not sure what the rankings are. This wall around here, this is all Bathurst land. I actually lived in Cirencester. I actually lived for 11 years in a Bathurst estate property, which was called Mansion Lodge. In the middle of Cirencester there's a huge mansion where Earl Bathurst lives, and it was the lodge house to that mansion. He wanted, in those days he was Lord Apsley, and he wanted someone he could trust living there. So I lived there for 11 years, sort of guarding one of the entrances to the mansion, as it were. It wasn't gardening. I never worked for the estate. It was, but in the summer, the place is actually heaving with tourists. We go right past it. I'll point it out as we go along. On the right here, there's the Royal Agricultural College, which trains a lot of Britain's farmers. I think it's sort of got quite a worldwide reputation. I don't know. I mean, the students don't seem to appear to spend most of their time drunk. That's the reputation they've got in town anyway. And there's, the usual town and gown tensions. And on the left we have the big local Cirencester school. I'm not sure what it is now. Whether it's there's so many different kinds, comprehensive, academy, whatever it is. There it is on the left there, and they've got all those grounds there. I think it's got quite a good reputation. I don't know, to be honest. And we're coming up to the roundabout right on the edge of Cirencester, and we're going to drop down the hill into Cirencester. There's a bit of dual carriageway, and then we hit Cirencester proper. This is the outskirts, these sort of housing estates up there on the right and sort of straight ahead of us. And coming up on the right, there's Cirencester Hospital, which we won't be able to see. The grounds on the left still belong to Bathurst now, I think. And the place I used to live, you see this big wall on the left here. Further along this wall, there is what is Europe's tallest hedge, or is it the tallest hedge in the world or something? It's a yew hedge. And I used to live in the wall in a little house built into the wall. And we're now coming up to Cirencester proper. On the left there's the sports centre, where I must have played about 10,000 games of squash. It was just around the corner, as you're going to see. On the right we got the Waitrose. Waitrose moved in when all, the celebs and the royal family and all that moved in, and the whole place went drastically upmarket. And there's the wood, and there's a continuation of the wall around the sort of mansion. And we're going to go up here and bear left, following the wall. On the left here, you'll see one of the houses in the wall, just there on the left. That is the house down from the place I lived. And the place I lived is just going to be around the next left-hand bend. Those are the big gates on the left there, and there's my place on the left there. And just by it, just there, there's the entrance to the mansion yard, which is a big car park. I lived there for 11 years, and I got fed up with it basically, because you're living right on this road. I had tourists hanging off the window ledge to the my sitting room, peering in, sometimes cupping their hands so they could see in. And the mansion yard is basically a car park, so I was putting up with all that. And at the weekends, like any other market town in England, it's just full of gangs of drunks, wandering past my window. I'm a teetotaler. I find that I have, really not much patience at all with problems caused by alcohol. And roaming gangs of shouting drunks at 3 in the morning are just about my unfavourite group of people in the world, to be quite honest. So I got fed up with that, and I moved to the outskirts of Cirencester, and we're going to go past that as well, except we won't be able to see it because it's down a driveway, and it is in fact the last house in Cirencester on the Cirencester Cheltenham road, and you can only just see the entrance to the driveway. But it was sort of a bit like where I'm living now, in that it was close enough to town to be incredibly convenient, but at the same time it was really, really secluded. The difference is the place I'm living now actually is in the middle of town, but it's still very, very secluded and private, which is one of the things I most like about it. And it was the same with this place on the edge of Cirencester. Yeah, the last house on the Cirencester Cheltenham road. We're going to turn right up here. We're leaving Cirencester now, and we're heading towards a sort of suburb called Stratton. which is where I lived. I'm going to do a right just here and turn into Stratton, and this is the Cheltenham Road from Cirencester. Here we go, and if you go straight on there, you go via Air Balloon Hill, drop down into Gloucester and join the M5, and you go to Tewkesbury that way. There's our little Stratton shop. Bit like other village shops, it was convenient, but you know, expensive, frankly. And the place I used to live is down the driveway up here on the right, and you can't see it because it's just concealed from the road, really, down a driveway. But there's big housing estates on the left here. But the place I lived, there's the allotments, and there's the driveway on the right there to the place I used to live. Yeah, I lived there for another sort of 10 years or so. And I really, really liked it there. That is the place I was living when my mum became ill, and I had the, you know, emergency call at 1 o'clock in the morning, came off and came up to Tewkesbury and found her with heart failure. She went into hospital, she got vascular dementia, and I had to move out of there in 2 weeks flat and move into my mum's house in Tewkesbury to care for her for 6 years, and then sadly she died last year, so that's what happened, and that's where I was living. And she was in Cheltenham General actually, so that was quite convenient to visit her. She spent 2 weeks in hospital over Christmas and New Year and was behaving really, really oddly. You know, like it's an awful lot to suddenly happen. Although when it happened, I realised that she'd had Alzheimer's when she was diagnosed and everything. We all realised she'd had Alzheimer's for years, and it explained her increasingly odd behaviour, because, you know, I was very, very puzzled before that happened by how she was behaving. And we're leaving Cirencester now, and we're going to go through, well, we've left Cirencester really. There's the Cirencester bypass up above. We're just going under that, and we're out on the Cheltenham Road, and we go through a few little villages. I've forgotten what this one's called. Oh God, doesn't take long, does it? Out we go. The next one whose name I can remember will be North Cerney. Oh, and we're on my ZX-6R, by the way. This is a bike I've had for a couple of months now. ZX-6R. This road used to be completely unrestricted. They put a load of speed limits on it now, sort of 40 mile an hour, 50 mile an hour speed limits. What can I say? We're going at roughly the speed limit. But as you can see, it's a lovely biking road, all these lovely bends and everything, which is why I came this way rather than hammering on to the M5, which is, you know, the ultimate in tedium, really. And as you can see, we've got surrounded by the Cotswolds in the evening light, and this is what the Cotswold is: gently rolling hills, wheat fields, fields of rape as well. Quite a lot of it's bright yellow come the spring and summer. And we're going through on the right there's a little village called Rencombe. There's a big public school there, which is sort of, I don't know, how do you describe it, second tier big public school. Public in England means private. And we are now on the outskirts of North Cerney. Funnily enough, when I was living up, my parents lived in a farmhouse in Hereford, I started going to a pub in a little place called Cannon Pyne, and the landlady there, who was an absolute stunner, was actually married in North Cerney Church, just along here on the left. And there's a very big student pub on the right here called the Bathurst Arms. Yeah. Yeah, the church is just there on the left, Bathurst is on the right. And we are going to carry on to the next village, whose name I can remember, which will be Colesbourne. But look at these lovely roads, you know, I mean, this is good biking country, this. It's fun. The thing about a motorcycle is, you're going along in a car, you're totally insulated from your surroundings. And here we are, in the heart of the Cotswolds. Who wouldn't want to be part of that? On a motorcycle, you're much more part of it. You're much more in your environment. And journeys become journeys because you've got to concentrate a lot more than you have to do driving a car. It's much more involving. It's just a better way to travel. I do like it. These fields here, when you ride along here in a bit later on in the spring, you get overwhelmed by a smell of garlic. There's tons and tons of wild garlic growing on the banks on the left here. Occasionally you see people stopping to pick it, but it's a bit difficult to find somewhere good to park around here. It's quite a fast road. Busy road rather, not fast. I am keeping to the speed limits, officer, honestly. You see lots of lovely bends, lots of lovely light, lovely countryside. Not much traffic at this time of day, although this is a fairly busy road, I must say. And here we go. I'll shut up for a bit. Yeah, one thing I should say about Cirencester is that in Roman times it was actually the second largest town in Roman Britain, and of course an important administrative area. And if you look at a map, you'll see a lot of the roads leading out of Cirencester, not this one, but a lot of the other ones are straight. They're old Roman roads. The roads still follow the line of the old Roman roads. And where you get a long straight on roads like this, it's usually because it's picked up the line of an old Roman road. So just thought I'd mention that. This is Colesbourne. It's the last major village we go through before we hit the outskirts of Cheltenham, where this video will end. But we'll go along for a few miles yet. Okay, these are the roundabouts. This place is called Seven Springs, and all we're going to do is go straight across these roundabouts and then drop down the hill off the edge of the Cotswolds really and into Cheltenham. I won't bother showing you going through Cheltenham. The routes through Cheltenham are not very exciting, but then nothing that's happened on this video is very exciting. It's not meant to be. It's meant to be a sort of amble through the Cotswolds in the evening light on a motorcycle, and just doing that is a pleasure in itself, you know, much more so than driving a car. It's just incomparable. You know, driving cars is easy and boring, especially when you get caught in traffic. And driving motorcycles is really just, you know, the next level. It's fun still. It used to be fun driving cars, you know, in Hereford in the early days when I first learnt to drive. There was no other traffic and lovely windy roads. That was fun, but that's all gone now. There's too much traffic in the UK and the towns are too clogged and everything. You've got to go motorcycle to, you know, get your enjoyment really, your fix. Okay, well, we're coming up to the edge of Cheltenham. We're just going down the hill. And it's the last few hundred yards of this journey. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks very much indeed for watching.